Hello, good morning. My name's Anthony Knowles. Welcome to this latest webinar on the marketing campaign. Can I just check that everybody can hear? Can somebody indicate in chat that you can hear me talking? It would be helpful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. We will be recording this session, so if you are unable to stay with us for the whole session or you want to share it elsewhere, then there will be the opportunity to do that, and we'll share the details with you after the webinar. So our agenda for today, I'm delighted to be joined by Kay Green, who's going to talk to us about our integrated communication strategy. And then following that, I'll do a short input about the Vacancy Snapshot. But these are all just great opportunities for businesses like yourselves to get involved in the marketing and communications activity that we do, and shout about how great your apprenticeship programs are. So without further ado, I will pass on to Kay. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end. Over to you, Kay.
Hello everybody, it's great to be here today to talk to you about the integrated strategy. Hopefully you've all seen some of the fabulous assets and advertising that's out there at the moment, including the TV campaign. And thank you to everyone who shared it so far, and we've had some really good engagement on it on LinkedIn and Twitter. So as always, thank you for all your help with that. So today I was really going to concentrate on the campaign, which is obviously a key part of the strategy, and I'll also mention the new campaign website, which we've all been busy working on the last few months, as well as National Apprenticeship Week, which is going to be upon us very soon, and that obviously is a key component of the new strategy and the new campaign. So moving on to the next slide. The overall objective for the campaign was set earlier last year before we then pitched for the agency, and it was around growing the number of high quality apprenticeships offered and started by 2020. So we were really concentrating there on the quality aspect of that and thinking about the types of different apprenticeships employers offer and the ways that different individuals of different ages engage with that. And hopefully you can see from what you might have seen so far with the website and other materials that it has been a main two audience approach. So there has been less of a focus on just individuals. This very much looks at and covers employers as well as key influencers. And that is very much reflected in the website and all the different high quality content and assets that we're going to continue to create and that we'll probably want to engage with you with in future, so we can have some really good content to share with new audiences. Next slide. So when we worked with the agency on the strategy, something that had really come up from all the previous tracking research that we had done was around this a key issue that actually a lot of young people really engaged, particularly with the Get and Go Far campaign. You know, it had done well on a number of different indicators. However, a lot of parents and influencers were still saying to us, oh, it's great, apprenticeships are great. But then when asked if it was for their child, would they recommend it to their child? The percentage was very low. They still didn't see it as being, for their child. It was for somebody else. And so that was something that we really wanted to overcome and really get the nation bought in to this, mindset that, apprenticeships are incredible. There's so many options. They're a quality offer. And, we need to get rid of this not for me mindset. And we really want to challenge it and tackle it head on. And that's something that we feel has been done through the new creative and messaging for the campaign. So as many of you will already have seen, that is Fire It Up, and it's locked into the Apprenticeships product logo that we already had, as that had a lot of good brand equity, and we know that it's all very well used by all of our partners. But Fire It Up is all about showing an active choice for both the employer and the apprentice. So it's something, showing people who are ready now, they're powering ahead, they want to fire up their career. It's very energising, it's very active, and it's really putting apprenticeships on the front foot, which I think is where we all know where it should be. So we really wanted to position it in a very strong way, and I think we feel so far from all the reaction and engagement and what we're getting back from numerous audiences is that it is fulfilling that key criteria that we wanted. So there's a couple more slides showing you some of the visuals, and hopefully you'll see these on 6 sheets on bus shelters. There's obviously the TV advert running, and there is a fair amount of advertising activity that you might not see because it's video on demand, and it's certain things, very bespoke, nudging certain groups of individuals, especially those younger people who are now constantly on YouTube, etc. So although you may have seen on the TV, if you haven't caught it, I would like to say that across the whole kind of marketing product promotion, we have got a really good mix, and it is reaching the target audiences as intended. So just to show you a few creative research results. So this is the kind of thing some of you will be aware of, where, an agency will be testing the creative, testing the messages before we get anywhere close really to delivering it and showing this to the minister and suggesting that we want to go with this approach. And it just kind of shows how well it did across the different audiences at this stage. So it just gives you an indication of some of the research we did before getting close really to the final product. It's worth adding, we did do a lot of extra research this time. It was a real belt and braces approach. So, there was no audience that was left untouched. It was really rigorous getting us to this position. So the next slide just hopefully shows you just a clear structure really around the narrative, the brand position, and then getting onto the strategy and the model. There's this 3-stage approach. So it's kind of reframing culturally, persuading collectively, which is where you can really help us, and then nudging individually. And I'll come on to it in the next slide to give you a bit more of an overview of what that is. And then obviously something that, we're all really pleased with is apprenticeships.gov.uk. We've got the URL, we've got the campaign site, and it will take a lot of users then straight through to obviously other pages on gov.uk. So hopefully it will really help with that, that user journey. For a lot of new users in particular, but also people who want to reconsider apprenticeships and want to get a bit more detail and really look at some of that rich content on there. So there's the 3-tiered architecture, which I was just touching on. And this kind of shows you the top line, that top of the triangle, the larger section, is reframing culturally. So that's when we're looking at mainstream media. So it includes the TV advertising, cinema advertising that's launching, out of home, which includes billboards, radio, digital, social. So all the usual things that you'd expect to see in that marketing mix. And then in the middle layer, this is where in the past, we're actually really strong, I think, because we have so many good employer partners, providers and other networks that help us so much at this stage. An example of that obviously is National Apprenticeship Week, where everybody gets on board, uses the messaging, uses the branding, and together we obviously become a much greater force, promoting apprenticeships. So we'll come on to that a bit more specifically for National Apprenticeship Week. And then the nudging individually is where we have the website now. It's going to be something that goes through lots of iterations, constant user need development there, and lots more content creation. We're looking at different ways that we're using our marketing automation for that, and lots of clever ways that people will see an advert and then click through. We can re-engage with them and make sure that we keep reconnecting with those users that have shown an appetite and an interest in apprenticeships. So the next slide shows you the integrated approach really across everything we do in DFE and Education and Skills Funding Agency. So working very closely together across a lot of different programmes that we deliver, and then obviously, as I already mentioned, a key partner of that is obviously yourselves and lots of others as well who really take that to the next level. So that's the Persuade Collectively section. So from things that we already do in schools through to all sorts of social media content and things that you engage with and help us retweet and help us send out further and disseminate further, through to things like the employer roundtables, employer guides, all the collateral that we supply that lots of you use, and also the different ways that you're able to engage with us and find out all the information you need from our branding pages, our business update and our new stakeholder update as well. The next slide just gives you a top line view of the media plan essentially, and then how that links in with some of that collective work that we're doing. Obviously, as it's spring, the collective part is quite heavy at the moment on National Apprenticeship Week, and then it shows you the nudging, so pay-per-click and how we put out searches to make sure, like I already mentioned really, we're getting all the right audiences through to the website. The following slide just gives you an indication of how we work across the government communication service, basically, with our evaluation framework. And we take this very seriously, looking right through from outputs to outcomes. So a lot of work's going on with that at the moment, looking at KPIs for every single activity that falls under that collective banner, not just the paid for, to really show the difference that the campaign is making, but also where there's gaps, where there's continuous improvement. So that's a more detailed structure that we're putting in place this year. And obviously the way things are moving with digital, it's actually becoming even easier for us to really drill down into some of the detail on some of the KPIs and analytics, so that we can constantly improve. So how can you support at the moment? So for the overarching campaign and business as usual activity across the year, I'd always suggest you use the branding and resources page on gov.uk. So that currently has the main apprenticeships product logos as well as the campaign assets. There is a link to download a zip file that contains all the different assets for the current campaign. So if you haven't done that already, please do. I think we've already had over 3,000 downloads, so it's proven very popular. So that tells us that lots of you are already engaging with that. On social media, they are absolutely key channels for us now. And just if you can, any of you can check that your teams are following us. There's the two different Twitter handles are at Apprenticeships one and also the Fire It Up Apps one. But then LinkedIn's National Apprenticeship Service, and we're also on Instagram with Fire It Up and also on Facebook. So wherever possible, if you can make sure that you're following those and that your teams are using the relevant hashtags that are in our toolkits as well. And we will always try and retweet and engage with your content as much as we can as well, because that's what makes our channels obviously as good as they are. And then in terms of vacancies, just another push really for your live vacancies to feature on Find an Apprenticeship. The more vacancies that we have on there, obviously, as we get all these new quality candidates looking, it gives them a better spread, across sectors and regions, and really helps all of us in that sense. So on to National Apprenticeship Week specifically. First, just a big thank you for everybody over the last few years, but especially last year. We achieved lots of great results as well. It really is incredible. Thanks to all their partners. The first tweet last year got, I think, over 1,000 retweets. We were top government social media that week. It means that we get a lot more traffic on gov.uk, which a lot of that can now go through to apprenticeships.gov.uk. So it's can all go through to that main campaign page. I think we've got over 2,000 different articles in the media across the month. So we really do make a big impact that month, and a lot of government departments are involved as well. So thank you to anybody already who's been using the events map or sent us through any opportunities for the minister and ministerial visits. And I'll just go through now a little bit more detail about plans for this year. So I think it's only about 4 weeks away now. It's getting very close. The theme is Blaze a Trail, which links directly into the find to the new campaign. As you can see, it works for different audiences, so it's quite a nice, easy one to use. We've already supplied some information on it in the current campaign toolkit, but we're going to come out next week with some very simple, easy to use assets where there'll be 3 key asks for different audience groups. So we'll be doing easy guides with 3 asks for employers, individuals, and other partners as well. So for employers, we're looking at one being around creating a bit of a social movement, where we're going to have specific asks about different posts that you could do each day on your social media, and we'll be supplying templates for those as well. Blaze a trail on your Twitter feed. So there'll be more detail about this, but we've got suggestions around if your apprentice could manage your Twitter for a day or do something else, interesting around blogs. We're quite flexible on what people do, but we know that a lot of you do like us to come forward with ideas that can help shape your activity. And the third one at the moment is if you could share your activity on the events map. This is really helpful to us. We're also trying to engage with lots of MPs. So the more we know about your events, the more we can look at where we can help you with any visits, whether it's ministerial or MP, or even a director from the Education and Skills Agency coming and seeing what you're doing on the ground. We really want to hear about that. As well as that, obviously, if you've got something aimed at individuals in particular or to other employers or supply chains, a lot of people go to that page. It gets a lot of visits. So people are looking there to see what they can engage with in the week as well. And you'll see that on the next slide, a bit of a plug again for the events map. So while you wait for the further assets to come, which is going to be next week, that's kind of one nice thing that you could be looking at this week that would be really helpful to us as well. And I think that's it from me. So I'll just check and see what questions we've got. Is it possible to print the posters? So that is an interesting one. I'll have to check because I know those will be supplied in the assets. It should be possible. I mean, we're not printing them on behalf of partners, so there should be print-ready assets in there that you're able to print yourselves, whether it's either on photocopiers or send to a local printer. I know that would also be the case on our amazing apprenticeship site as well, where there's more assets specifically to use with young people as well. Another question is, do we have any images of over 25s? Well, we do have, as part of the campaign, there is a real mixture of people that we've used at ages. So maybe some of them, it's not apparent that they are, but they absolutely are. There's quite a lot that are in their late 20s, 30s upwards. So you may just not have realised that. But so there's plenty of images there. I could check what's currently in the toolkit. I mean, we'll only supply so many stock images at a time. We do supplement that ourselves with additional images that we use internally as well. But I will take that away and make sure that there's to see how many stock images there are that we're providing to you. And another question is, where do I find the pack for National Apprenticeship Week? So The pack will be coming out next week, and there'll be various PDFs. The reason that National Apprenticeship Week Resources has not come out earlier this year is because it is a fundamental part of the campaign, and obviously the campaign toolkit was only ready to go out early January. We've all been working as hard as we can, but those were the timescales for this year. So as I said, a lot of good messaging and ideas is already in that main campaign toolkit. You know, National Apprenticeship Week is part of that campaign. So please use that as much as you can, and those PDFs with very specific kind of asks will be ready next week. I'm really pushing for Wednesday or Thursday. And then what we'll do is we'll make sure that it goes out, that link goes out on as many channels as we can. Certainly all the social media channels, but also we have business update, we have stakeholder update. Any possible channel we can get that link out to, we will, because it will go through the gov.uk National Apprenticeship Week page. There'll be a link directly from there to take you to it. Okay, so there's another couple of questions about over 25s, but all I can say is apprentices that feature, majority of them are over 25. So like I said, really quite a few in particular are between 25 and 35. Certainly in the case study videos that are on the website, we have Sarah from the NHS, who I think is her mid-50s. There's quite, I'm trying to think, Hosanna was young, but there is quite a few others that are older. So it is something that we are trying to make sure we cover that mix. So I just want to reassure you with that. I mean, in particular, if you compare it to Get and Go Far, that was we were really looking, or the directive had been at that point to really look at sort of 18 to 21-year-olds and really only look at higher in degree. I mean, the scope of this is far, far broader, and we want to be more inclusive in that respect. And we've got a question here from Mohammed that says, Apprenticeship Champions, please could you share details of this, as the Amazing Apprenticeships page is very limited, e.g. what the commitment is, the role is, etc. That's a really interesting query, Mohammed, and I'll take that back to the engagement team who lead on that site in particular, because I know that if that's something that's holding back from people from putting themselves forward for that, we can definitely look at that. I'll be surprised if there's not a contact us or something on there, but it might be worth looking for that, but otherwise I can definitely pick that up and ensure we get some more information on there. Sue has asked, has a specific comms pack gone out to schools? So through Amazing Apprenticeships, there are various newsletters that go out every month to schools, and also they do certain things to parents as well now. So I know that they're constantly sending out links to different resources that are then uploaded onto Amazing Apprenticeships. So lots of things have been sent directly into schools, so we absolutely do as much as we can there. I don't know whether you're referring specifically to hard copy things, Sue, because I know that is something Amazing Apprenticeships often do at the start of the year, where they've sent in hard copy elements as well. But obviously there is quite a cost attached to that, so wherever possible we do try and direct schools to a lot of digital assets that are often printer friendly as well. Okay, I think that's it for questions on that. Thank you all for your time, and I'll pass you back over to Anthony.
Thank you very much, Kay. Really insightful input there about what's happened with the campaign so far, and great answers to the questions as well. If you've got other questions, we'll pick them up a little bit later after I've done my short input now. As Kay quite rightly said, one of the things we want you to do is to put your vacancies in the shop window. So on the Find an Apprenticeship website, or Recruit an Apprentice, as you might know it. But when you are trying to attract young people who are perhaps in year 13, so 18-year-olds who are also considering university, but you've got higher in degree opportunities, we also have a vehicle to actually put your opportunities at that level alongside those that they might be considering at university. And so I'm just going to talk to you now about a number of products that will help you to actually promote your organisation throughout the year. The first one being the higher and degree vacancy listing, and that's now back for its third year, and we really want as many people as possible to get involved in that. So last year we had over 3,000 vacancies from more than 40 employers to reach out to thousands of high caliber applicants. And we've launched the latest version of this in November, and we've already seen a great reaction from potential applicants who are searching for these kind of roles, but it's not too late to get involved. So we are still looking for employers to get on the listing, and we are looking to publish an updated version to tie in with National Apprenticeship Week, so giving you an even bigger audience to reach. And the listing is taken into all the schools that are engaged in the ASK programme, as well as being taken to careers fairs and events, and being available online. So it means a huge exposure to thousands of potential applicants. And over the next year, we'll also be showcasing this listing at all of the events that we attend, including over 30 UCAS events. The first UCAS events in 2019 are at the end of February, so now's the perfect time to get involved. We will be showcasing the listing on .gov.uk, social media, and targeted messaging through e-shops as well. So there's also another opportunity on that slide to get involved in this and promote your opportunities, which is something called Learn Live. So this is an innovative approach in terms of broadcasting live information sessions directly into schools. They also get recorded, so they can be downloaded for future use if the timing doesn't fit with a school's timetable. So schools can actually sort of drop into those whenever suits them. And this is another free opportunity that's available to you to promote your vacancies, and something that I really recommend people get involved in. We're trying to expand the range of employers that are taking part, and we do want you to get involved. Well, it is typically large employers, but we would consider smaller employers getting involved if they wanted to. But this is a great chance to showcase your company, address potential applicants directly, and they're really popular. So our dates are filling up fast. If you are interested in that, please do contact us. I will give you contact details at the end. And then finally, another aspect on the amazing apprenticeship website, which we've already mentioned, the online portal, that's also used in all schools, is the Vacancy Snapshot. And this is a great way to advertise your business all year round. So even if you haven't got a live vacancy on Find an Apprenticeship, it can highlight your organisation to people who are considering throughout the year. So on the Amazing Apprenticeship site, one of the tiles on there is called Vacancy Snapshot, and it allows applicants to actually see what your company's like. You can put a bit of a pen picture on there. You can inspire them to apply for your roles. And every company that's listed on there has a profile page, which enables teachers, parents, potential apprentices to find out about your upcoming opportunities. How the application process works, what working for you might actually be like. So it enables you to give a bit more of a flavour of what you're about than perhaps you can in an individual vacancy. And as I say, it's there all year round. We will actually work alongside you to develop your page to make sure it's performing to the highest of standards and attracting the best candidates, so that support is available. So if you're keen to get involved in any of those things I've just spoken to you about, do speak to your NAS account manager, or call 08000 150 600, the Apprenticeships helpline, or email the address on this screen. I think would be the best advice I could give you. If you want to be included in the latest iteration of the vacancy listing, we would need your information by the 19th of February at the latest. We will be updating that list throughout the year, so you can still be involved. If you do miss that deadline, just let us know at that email address. Okay, thank you for listening. I'll now just check any questions that have come in. Okay, so we've got a question. What levels would you class as higher? So higher is level 4 and above. So obviously it does include level 5, 6, 7 when you go up to degree apprenticeships as well. Somebody else has helpfully put the answer to that. Do UCAS charge to promote the apprenticeship opportunities? They won't charge you, but we work in partnership with them. So yeah, any payments for us. All of these are free services that are available to you. So yeah, I've had the question: do we have to pay? No, you don't. They're free. Can we ask people to go on mute? Sorry, I hadn't picked up that people were talking. It sounds all right to me now. If you're not on mute, if you could please, that would be helpful. Will our vacancies be automatically listed if posted on the NAS? No, they won't, in terms of that vacancy snapshot, because this is about, and if you actually look at the higher and degree vacancy listing, you can just search for it on Google and you'll be able to see what it looks like. Sometimes it signposts directly to the NAS website, sometimes it signposts to your own, but also it's working to the time frame that people are applying to university. So it might be that your vacancy is not actually live at the moment, but that doesn't stop you from being on that listing that you are intending to offer some opportunities in September 2019. That's the current one we're working to. The future one will be then September 2020. So it gives you an opportunity to put it alongside when people are considering doing their UCAS applications to university. Actually, there might be opportunities with your organisation as well. Please can you repeat that about the deadline you just mentioned? Yes, so the initial deadline is the 19th of February if you want to be included in the next version of the higher and degree vacancy listing. So the 19th of February. There will be opportunities beyond that if you are unable to get your information together by then. But if you'd contact that email address before then, the team will certainly help you, or indeed after then for future listings. I think there was one earlier question that I just missed as well. Is there a list of tried and tested good quality providers? Our experience has been mixed, putting some people off. I think in terms of providers, the way that things work now in terms of the apprenticeship reforms is that we're very much putting control into your hands. So we have a tool called Find Apprenticeship Training, where you can search for different training providers who offer the sort of standards or frameworks you're looking for. And on there, we've now included a section that gives employer feedback. So employers who are actually using those providers have the opportunity to rate them and share their experiences. So you'll be able to see ratings against those providers as well, which might help you. But our advice would always be, think about what your requirements are, and make a choice based on those. And different people have different things that are important to them. But there are some really great providers out there of apprenticeships, so I wouldn't want that to put you off. Will this webinar be sent round so we can review with others in my organisation? Yes, we will send you a link. That's all people who've attended today, and also people on the original invite list. We'll put it up on one of the YouTube channels and send you a link to it shortly after. Okay, I think that concludes our webinar for today. Thank you all for dialing in, and anybody who is listening to this later, I hope you enjoy it and find it useful. Do contact us should you need to via your account manager or 08000 150 600 to get any more information about apprenticeships. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you.